We join the action now live in Lanzarote as the athletes, 52 of the world's elite cyclists, have travelled to the beautiful island of Lanzarote to compete in the Road Rage Revenge, a one-day classic international. And we just joined the action here with the lead group and take a view of this beautiful island. And approaching the first climb up to the camels, we can see the action here from the back of the front group, and we can notice there Lauren Steadman from Team Armstrong and Tom Brew from Team I No Idea, both happy to take up the pace. And Brew has moved on a notch as he wants to capitalise on the impact of this first climb. Steadman having none of it, and you can see how she's determined to match that pace. This climb, some 300 metres, just first incline, testing the legs of these fit riders, but as with all women, needing to stop to have a photo shoot with the camels. Now the action picks up as they've come through the village of Yaitza and heading down to the beautiful circuit of El Golfo, and we can see these two lead riders, Steadman and Brew, very comfortable out in the front, and Steadman having some concerns at the camera control on the lead motorcycle and just trying to give some direction there as to how he might keep them in shot. But you can see smooth roads, great conditions. Steadman looking very happy, very comfortable here at the front of this group, very happy to do all the work for most of the others, and just showing her affection for this particular route and the cameraman. As we come down now through the fast descent to join this circuit of El Golfo, one of the beautiful scenic spots on the island, just cycles straight along the road, travels straight alongside the Atlantic, and very rugged landscape, the contrasting dark grey of the volcanic island and the blue skies of Lanzarote. And Brew there taking the opportunity just to get a little air time, whilst you can see the riders coasting behind, but nobody particularly wanting to take up the pace of this race much. And into a little fast left-hander, great control from the cameraman. I must say we are lucky to have such quality work today from an elite group that has followed this series around the world, and no expense has been spared on the quality of this production. But Steadman and Brew still happy to pull this train along, with some very capable and competent riders behind. So no action as yet. You can see Kevin Raid from Candy Crush in the back, just coasting along, and we are waiting to see this race hot up. So they'll pass through the beautiful roads of El Golfo, and interestingly enough, this stretcher road here has been used for some of the advertising for some of the large German car manufacturers in the past, just because of the beauty and the ruggedness of the landscape. Rainford there just moving up and onto, now interestingly, this is a lesser known rider at the back, Mark Palmer, an unlikely candidate to win this race, but sitting in nice and comfortable in his first outing. We know he's carrying a little bit of an injury at the moment in his hip, and we'll just see how this unfolds for him. And as the riders just using the most of this descent to ease down around El Golfo. And we have one of the tail enders here. Eva just joined us from Germany, and she is enjoying being part of this group on her first international outing, and you can see the pace has just stretched out her legs a little bit, but she's working to get back on and looking very confident and competent as she moves up and enjoying this beautiful weather. I think she left most of her kit at home and it got lost in luggage, so she's borrowed a pair of training shoes and a t-shirt, but nobody really minds that. It's very relaxed, opening international classic, and as you can see, just the riders there grouping up, and I have to say this is one of the most relaxed internationals we've seen on the circuit, and I think the sun cream has come out and they're taking the most of this time just to take in the scenery and enjoy the moments. But we do know up ahead of them the climb of Femes, a 21% gradient awaits, and maybe that's why there is some reluctance here to take on the pace as the riders begin to draw closer to that climb in the distance. A formidable mountain with all the media telescopes and the radio transmitters all at the top of that climb signal its arrival. So beautiful scenery, and this is where you would not wish to make a mistake on the bike and land in that very, very sharp and jagged volcanic rock that lies either side of the road. But no such worries here for these competent cyclists as they come through. And there is Laurens Stedman's Domestique, still sat in the front group here with these riders, just looking over and making sure she's okay. Really, he should be sat on the front pulling along, but I think Lauren's doing the work for him here today. And gear selection, obviously very important. Nice smooth cadence from these riders, and as they're moving through now around about 30 kilometers an hour, not too difficult a pace on these nice smooth flowing roads. So no change here at the front as it swings round, just making the most of this beautiful, beautiful section on this extremely rugged island. Lanzarote, known for its production of onions. In a good season, 20 million tons of onions are produced here on the Isles of Lanzarote. And another amazing architect that has been noted for his support for the island and his influences around the structures is Cesar Manrique, and all the houses around, you can see white buildings, single-story houses, all facing the sea. And we have a little break in proceedings here as we look at the climb they have just done. There is the 21% climb.
Feeling good? Got your legs in there?
And we join Mark Palmer for
Progressively getting better on this. How do you feel your last attack on this race will be? Calculated? Strategic?
Yeah, I think it will be about positioning for the foot of the last climb.
Okay.
See what the wind's doing.
Yeah. And then when do you expect to blow everybody away?
There's one last bend where it kicks up a bit. That's probably where I'll make the move.
Fantastic. We look forward to watching you.
So Palmer giving us an insight into his tactics there as we go down, head down this very fast descent from the climb at Femes. And you can see there the riders just regrouping at the bottom, and this is quite possibly where all the action will pick up as they're just now approaching the last 10 kilometers into the finish stretch. A little bit of a kick up and a rise, and Palmer was predicting that he would make his move around about this point, but there's Kevin Rainford from Team Candy Crush leading out the group here, doing the work alongside Brute. Stedman struggling somewhat here and just slotting in behind those riders, but Palmer looking fresh, little thumbs up. He knows this is going to be his move, this is his big opportunity. Has he got the legs? Well, we shall soon find out. Stedman freewheeling, taking the opportunity to get some drafting off those lead riders out in front there. Cameraman just making sure he's ready for all the potential action that will unfold. So, is Palmer ready? This unlikely champion here has been towed around a little bit this island and has put himself in the best possible position, and you can see the Domestique Chris there sitting in behind, but here goes Palmer and those legs are on the move. Yes, you can see the effort, the charge, and it has taken Brew and Rainford by surprise. Mark Palmer of Team Grey Sky hits the front, our new race leader. It is decisive. Look at that style, look at that effort, and he has done exactly what he said he would do, which was to blow them away. and this rise now kicks up for the next 200 meters and into a sharp left turn. And not only that, Palmer will have a headwind to contend with down the last 5 kilometers of this race. Now, is there likely to be a response? Well, none as yet. I think he may have just picked his moment perfectly. And Palmer showing great form there, driving hard. Yeah, it's all difficult on the island of Lanzarote. When that wind blows, it is straight on your nose. He's just about to turn into that headwind now. So, good work from Palmer, but can he hold on? Yep, now he'll have the wind for company. And you can see the change in pace a little bit, but what a decisive move that was. And you can see the rest of the peloton here just maybe thinking about how they're going to respond. And the first one through looks like Brew from I No Idea, and head wobbling Rainford there just a few meters off the back, and Stedman from Armstrong just dropped back, and her domestic Chris still sat on the back of her wheel. And there we go then, and Palmer still showing that fine form out at the front of the group, and the peloton closing. It does look like Palmer has lost a little bit of ground to these riders, and I wonder if there was something that was unknown to us. I think he was complaining about a bit of cramp earlier, but we'll have to find out as he charges down this final descent into the last few kilometers of this race. And the chase group now looks like he's just put a little bit of time in again as they come herring down this descent, charging behind him in an aero position, and coming up for the finish then. Palmer just manages to hold on, arms aloft, and you can see the disappointment. We'll need to take another look at that as he comes through. He has just held off some of the world's elite. Yes, he's every right to celebrate, and this is a fine win for an unlikely winner. You can see the disappointment. Stedman got a hand on her head, Rainford got his head down.
Okay, Mark,
let's listen
Palmer,
to Palmer.
impressive victory today at the 3 hours race here in Lanzarote. How are you feeling now?
Elated, totally exhausted. I gave it everything.
But the plan you spoke about earlier on the end of the first stage?
Executed that plan, hit it at the right time, took that left, but that long false flat headwind, that was on my limit.
And we noticed you cramping a little bit during that race.
I hadn't had enough nutrition earlier on, couldn't get any assistance. We were within the 20k mark, hot day, just hanging on for dear life. Gave it everything. I knew they were chasing me, I knew the gap was coming down. I just gave it everything I had. And that last little rise, oh, what a relief to cross the line first.
Mark, we are all proud of you. Everybody in Sufferlandria salutes you.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Okay, Lauren, we know you're no stranger to international success on the world stage. How does this compare to the Paralympics in your last outing?
Well, I mean, the conditions were really rough today. We had a really strong headwind and we were all really going as hard as we could. And Mark just came out of nowhere. The power he must have in those legs is absolutely phenomenal. And for me, I could just say that it's going to encourage me for the rest of my season and training that I can do to try and beat Mark. He's just there for me, and I just worked my arm off.
Did you?
Yep.
Tom, your first debut at the Road Rage Revenge, the 3 hours series in Lanzarote, and how did you feel it went today?
Mark, he was there, he was gone.